Hello and welcome.
Hola.
Yeah, so good to see you, Carolina and Lama Dorje. It's just such an honor to have some time to spend sharing our experience of the retreat, and also to ask you some questions. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, muchas gracias. Thank you so much for having us. It was wonderful to be in the retreat together, and now to be able to reconnect online. We're really happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So for those that are watching, we have here Lama Dorje, who is a brilliant man from Tibet, who's dedicated his life to service, and we're so thankful for everything that you do, and really happy that you've decided to come to Costa Rica and build your world retreat for peace, world peace sanctuary here in the mountains. So it's like such a blessing. First of all, we're really happy that you're doing that. You've chose that these lands that we just love, and yeah, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing this work and these words, the teachings here.
Yeah, and Carolina, thank you as well, like for everything you do and being by the side and really driving this work with the foundation, and just for being of service. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Carolina, if you want to, you can maybe kick it off by explaining a little bit more about who you are and Lama Dorje, and just and talking maybe a little bit about the retreat that we just did, and then we want to share our experience as well, and then also maybe ask a couple of questions if that's okay.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
So this magical man next to me is Drupal Lama Dorje, and he's originally from the high mountains of Tibet in a really small town called Limi. So it's 15,000 feet in the mountains, or 5,000 meters above sea level, and it's snowy. It's snowed in for a good portion of the year, and their community is nomadic. They grew up as a nomadic community, herding yaks and also planting potatoes. And they kind of live in tents, like traditional tents, and they're nomadic. And the community they all grew up Buddhist, and the kind of central philosophy of Buddhism is to awaken the human potential and to really get to know our true nature. And it's really embedded into every aspect of life, from the way that we treat nature to animals, to the way that we're of service to all beings, the way that we speak with respect, and the way that we act out of compassion. And Lama Dorje was very clear when he was 5 years old. He asked his mom if he could become a Buddhist monk. And so he's very clear about what his mission was this time around. And so he had the full monastic training, where his first monastery experience was in a small monastery up in the rural parts of the Himalayas. And then he continued on to even more formal study in India. And around the age of 24, when we're all going wild at age 24, Lama decided to go into 4 years of solitary retreat. So he went into the mountains of India in a house the size of a common room in our lifestyles, that had a really tiny window. He wasn't allowed to go outside for those 4 years. He didn't speak to a single person for those 4 years. And what they do in this traditional retreat is that a master comes and shares with you step-by-step practices. So once a month or every 2 months, a master comes and shares with you the next step of this meditation practices. And these practices are aimed at purifying the mind of all of its negativities, and then awakening up its beautiful qualities of love and compassion. So there are different types of meditation techniques that stabilize the mind, calm the mind, allow the mind to analyze itself, and then ultimately to be able to be introduced into the nature of the mind, which is called Mahamudra. And so we're all so fortunate that Lama really dedicated his time to do this. And right after this 4 years of being by himself, he was asked, he actually had like a big bun on his head too. He's like a wild yogi style, where they have the big dreads all wrapped up on top. And then before he left, his masters actually asked him to go to Santiago, Chile. So they sent him on a mission. He was thinking it was like maybe a 3-hour plane ride, and it was like 3 days. And and he asked his teacher, is there going to be sampa, which is toasted barley? And is there going to be a translator? And he said, there's going to be neither. And we need you to go. So he went, and for the last like 13 or 14 years, he's been in Santiago, Chile. And he learned Spanish by so much effort, really putting a lot of effort to that. Speaks the Dharma in Spanish and Portuguese, teaches meditation. And yeah, we're so fortunate for all of that dedication that he's put forth, because he's been able to bring the Dharma into areas of the world where it's not so common. And yeah, just a tiny bit of how I met Lama. One of his kind of special flavors of things that he brings forth in the world is he goes to intercultural gatherings and like indigenous events. And so I was in Peru translating for an indigenous elder of a Quechua nation, and Lama Dorje was at one of the intercultural gatherings that we were at, and we exchanged contacts. And you know, and there was a moment in my life when things were extremely challenging, and like life was kind of shutting down in many ways. And Lama Dorje just like, you know, we got reconnected at the right time, and I listened to his teachings and his practices of meditation, and they impacted my life so deeply that I decided to kind of start a new chapter of life, and I've been his assistant and translator since then. And really just out of a deep reverence for the impacts of these teachings. And so we've been traveling around and came to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is a country dedicated to peace and regeneration. So it seems like a really wonderful place to really go deep into what that means. And for us, inner regeneration, inner peace is the way, that is the pathway to intercultural unity, that is the pathway to a beautiful planet. And so that's what we work with primarily, is sharing techniques for cultivating inner peace.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, that was so beautifully shared. And yeah, thank you for like explaining how you met and a little bit about the background of Lama. So bringing the conversation onto the retreat that we just did together. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be you know, be present at some of the offerings in the last couple of years here in Chiripo. And obviously I got invitation to come to the retreat in Montana Azul, where we did 5 days together, the silent detox retreat. And yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about that and the experience that we had. And yeah, for me, it was like I didn't really know what to expect. And you know, I just said, yeah, silent detox, no talking, no phone, little bit of fasting, you know, it's fine. And I honestly just turned up thinking like, okay, no expectation, we'll see what happens. And Nicole got me a nice bed in the temple, and I didn't realize how cold it was going to be, and getting a bell at 4 o'clock every morning. Yeah, but you know, for me, it was really just, if I can just say that, it was pretty sort of life-changing in regards to, you know, not communicating, no talking, no phones, intermittent fasting, dry fasting, up at 4 o'clock, reciting the beautiful mantras from 5 a.m. And yeah, it was just like, it's very difficult to put it into words, but for me it was just a way of like really clearing the mind and resetting the system and detaching, you know, non-attachment from these things, non-attachment from speech. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I was there, and really just again want to take the time to say thank you for that. I really learned a lot about myself and the practice, and it's been just super amazing. And yeah, I know Janine it's made a real big impact on Janine, and I know you wanted to
Yeah,
share some?
I would like to share as well because it was so magical. So I saw also started into this retreat with no expectation, and that was good like that because like that I could just dive deeply into the beautiful program that you put together. And first of all, I like to share that even though being in the presence of the Lama makes you already feel peaceful and calm and like, yeah, good. So I was really, really held there, and yeah, for me it was such a deep detox. It was the perfect moment in my life to really detach from all these things. No phone, no technology, no speaking, no music, nothing that distracts, and the only thing that left our mouth were prayers and mantras for love and for compassion, and to really connect with all sentient beings on this world and everything that came in. So like from that what we were listening to were so many beautiful reminders, but also new things talking about the difference between being attached or unconditional love and things like that. So this is really, I feel like, the topics that are important, especially in this time. So I'm really grateful for that. And for me, such a big release of emotions was happening there at this retreat. It really grounded me, and it got my mind like clear. And yeah, I'm really, really, really grateful. I'm still having this mala here that reminds me of that time, and is like an anchor in my daily life now. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful for that experience.
Yeah, I know this retreat is you only unfortunately this is only done like once a year, and there's since I came out there's so many people that have approached me and asked me how it was, and they're really interested to join for the next one. But so I know you've got a couple of there's a couple of other retreats coming up for those that may be listed. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe share a little bit more how that's going to look?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing y'all's experience. That's really also like so impactful for us to hear how it's received and how it really creates changes in other people's lives. And yeah, the retreat that y'all went to is the most traditional retreat that we do all year. So we do it once a year, and it's very traditional. And like what you said, like the waking up at 4 and doing the hours of chanting and all of these things. And it's so interesting what happens when you do that. Like, even though we're in silence and not speaking, like Janine was saying, that these messages come through and all these ancient texts and all of these ancient prayers, and they're kind of like just letting you know what your true nature really is. And so when we're not like sitting there just like chattering about it afterwards and distracting ourselves and all of these things, then we get to actually kind of see in our lives where we can step into that more fully. So it was really such a pleasure to enjoy that retreat with y'all. And yeah, the retreats that we have coming up are a little bit of a different flavor, and also equally potent. The next one that we have coming up is a shamatha retreat. So it's a meditation retreat, Tibetan mindfulness meditation retreat, which is more traditionally called shamatha. And it's April 14th to the 16th. So it's a 3-day weekend retreat. And in that specific retreat, I don't think we'll be getting up as early for that one. Oh, boo.
Surprise.
We're going to sleep a little longer on that one. But equally, the food is going to be amazing. The Montaña Azul is obviously super lovely. And really the essence of this retreat is the Tibetan Buddhists have some really unique ways of calming the mind by actually working with outer objects, inner objects, visualizations, working with the breath. And it's quite, it's rich, it's colorful, and they're very varied in the techniques. And so we're going to spend 3 days going through different techniques. We'll also be in silence again. We'll be eating 3 meals a day though. And desserts. And yeah, the techniques, one is called an outer object. So like, for example, looking at a candle or a cup, we train our minds to stabilize by keeping our minds focused on an outer object. there are inner objects such as the breath or the visualizations of enlightened beings. And eventually what the results of these different kinds of techniques, the result is a stabilizing of the mind, a calming of the mind, so we can see what's underneath all of the emotions and thoughts. And that gets us closer and closer to our true nature. And this is a really good preparation for Tibetan Vipassana and the Mahamudra practices. These are like the pathway that we go through. So that's April 14th to the 16th. And then the next excellent experience that we have coming up in Costa Rica is an intercultural gathering in July. It's July 21st to the 28th. We'll be connected. We've actually been doing intercultural gatherings for the last 10 years. I've been hosting them in Peru, and Lama's been attending them all throughout Latin America. And so this is the first time we're hosting it in Costa Rica. We're very excited about that. It's called Our True Nature. And we'll be the nations that'll be present is the Boruca. So we have Mama Lourdes from the Boruca tribe here in Costa Rica. We have Uncle Pat Scott from the Navajo, also known as Dene in the US. And then we have Lama Dorje representing kind of the Tibetan and Himalayan religions, traditions, also religion. So he'll be representing the kind of the Himalaya traditions. And then we also have our friend India, who is such a bridge keeper. She grew up in an indigenous community in Costa Rica and has been doing such amazing work with the communities and uplifting their projects and initiatives. And then I'll also be a speaker. I've been working with indigenous communities, as I mentioned, for the last 10 years. And in Peru and throughout the US and Latin America. So we'll kind of be bringing in that bridge voice of what does it mean to really be supporting and working with indigenous communities. And kind of the main question that we're asking ourselves here is what keys do ancestral cultures have to share with us that are relevant in modern times? So these kind of communities, the Tibetans particularly, the Navajo, the Boruca, have all gone through immense challenge in their lifetimes, and they were able to overcome them, and they were able to be so resilient. And what are they doing? What are the strategies in terms of culture? What are the strategies as individuals? What are the strategies that they're doing with nature? And how can we learn from those and really apply those in the present day? So that's what we're going to be exploring together for a week. And there's going to be ceremony, storytelling, music, where Andrew Seeley is going to be offering yoga during the whole week as well. So we're going to have, just a whole bunch of beautiful experiences together and really dive into some pretty important topics of our time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And we'll make sure that we include a link for when we share this, so that people, if they want to get in touch with you, they can. And I'm sure it will be amazing. And that's just it's so beautiful. We really honor the indigenous people, the wisdom keepers, and the keepers of the land. And it's so important to honor that, and really it's great teachings. So thank you for doing that work. Yeah,
absolutely. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So just a couple of questions, if I may. So look, I've been a keen meditator now for around 10 years, and for me it's really made such a huge difference in my life. It was the one thing that really able to give me such clear clarity and presence, and being still, and able to give me a good perception on the world and stuff like that. So it's been nothing but positive. But from your perspective, or from Lama's perspective, I'd like you to put this question to Lama, that what would you say is the single most important reason why people should meditate on a daily basis?
Él para mucho tiempo estaba meditando y eso ha hecho una muy grande diferencia en su vida. Entonces él está preguntando, ¿por qué recomiendas que personas deben meditar diariamente?
Bien, wonderful.
He said that's a great question.
Okay, yo digo, ¿por qué nosotros comemos todo el día?
He said, why do we eat every day?
Decimos, no. Ese como respuesta, no.
He said that's the response.
Okay, eso significa, mira, dos tipos de
So
alimentación.
there's two types of nutrition.
Porque el cuerpo noso comemos sin faltar, ¿no?
For our
Yeah.
body, we don't miss a meal.
Necesita comer,
We
¿cierto?
need to eat.
Entonces, ese alimento para el físico.
And that's our physical nutrition.
Para alimento para la mente, necesario meditación.
And to give nutrition to our mind, we need meditation.
Porque cuando meditamos, nuestra mente más calma, tranquilidad,
When we meditate, our mind is
y
calmer
más
and
como calar
tranquil.
de nuestra visión de la vida.
And we also clarify our vision in life.
Él puede ver la realidad,
And we
¿no?
can really see reality.
Entonces, meditación es fundamental, muy importante.
So meditation is fundamental and it's very
Puede-
important.
Puede tener muchas técnicas, diferentes tradiciones.
And there's so many different techniques and different traditions. Mhm.
Amazing.
Mm.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for answering that. It's
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great perspective. And do you think?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's it. We nourish our bodies, but why don't we also on a daily basis nourish our minds?
Yeah,
That's it. So important.
yeah. So the next retreat is in April, and then there's another one is in July. Yeah, and the one in April is 2 days. Did you say, or 3 days?
3 days. Yeah, 3 days. And it's all based on meditation.
Sure. Okay.
That's
And
different.
yeah, that's excellent. Anything you want to add?
Asking a question?
Yeah, go.
Maybe what would you say to people, because this is what comes to me quite a lot. I can't meditate. It's just I can't do that. What would you say to people who say to you, I can't meditate?
Que muchas personas me dicen ellos no pueden meditar. ¿Qué es tu recomendación para personas que piensen que no pueden meditar?
Entonces, mira, es importante, mira, meditación a veces confunde personas, ¿no?
So sometimes
Mhm.
people are confused about the purpose of meditation.
Porque a veces meditación significa solo tener que quitar, caerse mente contra de los pensamientos, ¿no? Eso pensando, ¿verdad?
People are thinking often that it means to just calm the mind, or it means to have no thoughts.
Porque definition de meditation, como Tibetan dice, Gom se llama.
But the definition of meditation in Tibetan is the word is called gom.
Gom significa familiarizar.
Gom means to become familiar with.
No, puede ser como sentado, puede ser acción, ¿no?
It could be sitting, or it can also be active meditation.
¿No? Por ejemplo, tú estás manteniendo atención plenas. Cada momento tú estás cuando lava loza, comiendo o durmiendo, caminando, por ejemplo.
So what it means is to maintain full mindfulness while you're washing your plates, while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're walking. It means to be fully present with that.
Sin necesidad de pelear con los pensamientos,
And
¿no?
you don't need to be fighting with the thoughts.
Entonces, no importa cuánto pensamiento venga, ¿no?
It doesn't matter how many thoughts come.
Pero es importante tú no seguir.
What matters is
Seguir.
don't get lost under the thought.
Solo como concentrar que está haciendo momentos, cada momento, ¿no?
Just keep remembering what you're doing in that moment.
Y a través de las respiraciones
And,
ayuda mucho,
and
¿no?
so breath really helps a lot.
Entonces, ese tipo de persona buena meditación de acción.
So the type of people that believe they can't meditate, it's good for them to start with active
Action
meditation.
meditation, ¿no? Porque ellos no muy difícil como sentar,
So
¿no?
they think that they can't sit and meditate, and that's very difficult for them.
Ya, entonces meditation tiene muchas formas.
But meditation has so many forms.
Muchas formas, muchos métodos.
It has so many methods. And just to elaborate on that, so like what active meditation means is just like he was saying, when you're washing your plates, know that you're washing your plates. Remember that you're washing your plates. When your thoughts come, it's okay. They're going to come, but let them go again. You don't have to follow the thought like, oh, I also want ice cream. The ice cream with strawberries. Strawberries reminds me of the field over there and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes down a whole trail. But you just say, oh, that thought come and it passed. And I remember that I'm fully washing my plates right now. Or I'm fully walking and I'm experiencing every step as I'm walking. And so the mind naturally wants to go and do its thing. And we just keep very lovingly and gently bringing it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And that really resonates with me. Yeah, I think for me, it comes down to just paying attention and it's just like disciplining yourself to actually always come back to that, just paying attention, being present and coming back to the breath and knowing that the mind wanders and then just always coming back. coming back with the breath by paying attention and being mindful, like you say. It's a simple yet it's a challenging practice when we are so used to just being constantly in the mind. And like Lama, who was, you know, in his practice for 4 years, to be still, we have to, I believe, just be patient and be gentle with ourselves and give ourselves time to practice. It's always a practice. So thank you for sharing that. That's really, it's really great information for anybody that's listening. Anything, what else I was going to ask you? Yeah, so is there anything else that you feel could be beneficial to share with anyone that's listening? Any tips, any advice you can give people? I'm sure that people that are watching this would really love to hear some words of wisdom on, you know, where would be a good place to start if you've, like I say, if you didn't know how to be still, or you didn't have like a daily practice, where would be a good place to start?
¿Tiene algún consejo o algo en general que quieres dar a las personas que quizás están escuchando? O también en general, si alguien quiere empezar en su camino de meditar, quizás ni tienen una práctica diaria, como dónde es algo en donde pueden realmente empezar.
Maravilloso. Ok, mi personalmente importancia, primero importante preciosa vida humana que tenemos, ¿no?
So first, I think it's important to recognize that we have a precious human life.
Entonces por vos nuestra vida es de vida preciosa, despertar.
The
¿no?
purpose of this precious life is to wake up
para ser feliz,
and to be happy
mejor persona,
and
¿no?
to be a better person
Luego servir para
and
otros.
to be able to serve others.
Y entonces, claro, muy difícil entrenarnos mente.
And it's so difficult to train this mind.
Entonces, muchas vidas, tiempos, no sé, puede siempre negativos, mente, ¿no?
For lifetimes and for this life itself, like we have been training in negative and distracted thoughts.
Entonces, quien no está ya meditado nunca en la vida, puede comenzar 5 minutos diariamente, ¿no?
So for someone who's never meditated before, let's just start with 5 minutes.
Tal vez puede sentado en la mañana, se preferencia buena.
You could sit in the morning, like right when you wake up, that's a good preference.
Puede prender una velita.
Maybe just light a candle.
Y solo puede merendar vela, nada
And
más.
just look at the candle
Y con las respiraciones.
and breathe
5 minutos solo, dejar
for
la
5
mente,
minutes. Just allow it to be
la mente tal como son,
and
natural.
just let it be as it is.
Ya, entonces descansar la mente,
So
¿no?
let the mind rest.
Y es inmensamente puede ayudar durante los días.
That can immensely help you throughout the day.
Entonces, durante el día, atento con nuestra mente, siempre mirando la mente.
So during the day, then just be attentive and vigilant of your mind.
Observando nuestra mente, cómo está pensando, cuando actuando.
Observe your thoughts. What are you thinking about and what are you doing?
Entonces, eso es muy importante. Como propósito, toma todos los pensamientos negativos, transformar a pensamientos positivos.
The purpose is to have the mindfulness to acknowledge when you have a negative thought and transform it into a positive thought.
Primero paso, normalmente, claro, trata no tener pensamiento, pero primero comiencen de tener la cualidad de pensamientos.
So eventually, you know, after many years of training, there's a moment of like less thoughts, but at the beginning, it's actually about transforming the quality of your thoughts. So if it's a negative thought, transforming it into a positive thought.
Positivo con la amor, la compasión.
With love and compassion.
Y siempre practica la amor incondicional.
And practice unconditional love.
¿No? Y la compasión.
And compassion.
Y eso es muy importante. Y eso ayuda muchísimo para la mente, como manejar la mente, ¿no?
And this really helps us to kind of tame our minds.
Porque yo siempre digo un ejemplo, no sé, vamos rapidito. Metal es muy duro, ¿cierto?
So I always give this example. Metal is very hard.
¿No? Entonces metal solo como no dobla, muy duro.
So it's very hard to bend metal. It's a very
¿Cierto?
hard,
Muy duro.
it's a very hard item.
Sí. Entonces, sí, duro, pues que puede quebrar.
If you just try to like bend it, they could just break.
¿Cuál nace de método?
So what's the method that you need?
Método es un fuego.
So you need fire.
Porque fuego calienta para hacer con mucho flexible.
So the fire makes it very flexible.
Entonces, nuestra mente como si fuera metal, ¿no?
And it's kind of like our mind is like
¿No?
metal.
Como muy duro,
It's
rígido,
very, our
¿no?
minds are so rigid. We're so
Muy
stuck in our ways and our thoughts.
estructurado, ¿cierto?
Very habitual.
Él nace calentarte fuego del amor,
So we need to put a little bit of the fire of love,
hace flexible,
and it'll make our minds more flexible.
muy fácil, ¿no? Por eso dice budismo de método y sabiduría,
So
trabajar juntos.
in Buddhism, we talk about method and wisdom is what we're working on.
Ya. Eso es mi recomendación y estoy muy feliz gracias a ustedes dos por la invitación.
And yeah, I just want to thank you both for this invitation.
Y yo también Lama muy feliz como ustedes compartiendo con la retiro, como la ahora, ¿no?
And yeah, just so happy that we had a beautiful time that we were able to share together in the retreat, and now being able to connect again right now.
Entonces, nuestra idea, ojalá todo el mundo sentir eso, todo el
And
mundo sentir.
the idea is hopefully that the whole world can feel this,
Entonces, mundo iluminados.
and that the world can become enlightened and
Todo
awakened,
feliz,
and that
¿sí?
all are happy.
Oh, yeah. Esa es nuestra meta
That's
principal,
the
¿no?
goal.
Traer la paz mundial, ¿no?
It's to bring global peace.
Pero cambio dentro primero,
But
¿no?
it starts with change on the inside,
Influenciando para
and then it
fuera.
influences on the outside.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, beautiful said. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it would be just maybe a good idea to just like to share with our community and our listeners a little bit more about just maybe a small piece about the foundation and the World Center for Peace, and you know, maybe if anyone wants to connect, how they can do that. So yeah, go ahead.
¿Y quieres compartir o yo?
¿Qué cosa?
¿Quieren hablar un poquito de Dewa Chen y un poco de la Fundación Lama Dorje?
Yo puedo fundación un poquito que no, ¿cómo se llama? En la de Wachen.
Okay. ¿Listo?
Yo puedo compartir uno pequeño, general, ¿no?
Okay, so I'd like to share a little bit about that.
Por eso mucha gente me ha preguntado, ¿por qué Lama Dorje 10 años viviendo en Chile? ¿Por qué ven a Costa Rica?
So many
¿no?
people ask me, like, why were you in Chile for over 10 years and then why are you in Costa Rica now?
Entonces yo les digo varios, ¿cómo se llama? Intenciones, ¿no?
Well, there's many reasons.
Entonces, claro, claro, ese país sabemos, un país de la paz.
So this country is one that's dedicated to peace.
Eso uno importante, ¿no? Para reservar, ¿no?
So it's important to preserve that.
Reservar la Dharma de Buda.
And I really believe that the Dharma of Buddha this is a really great place for that to flourish.
Seguro, ¿no? Y segundo, también haga mucho interesado, no hay como budismo tibetano. Es rico, ¿no? Mucha gente interesada, pero no tiene mucho acceso de budismo tibetano.
People don't have access to the Dharma here, and they're actually interested in learning about meditation and learning about Buddhist techniques of working with the mind.
Eso también. Y como ahora se quieren los santuarios de la paz, como llaman, de Wachen, ¿no?
And so, and now we're creating a sanctuary, a world peace sanctuary called Dewa Chen.
Dewa Chen es tierra pura en tibetano.
And the word Dewa Chen means pure land.
Tierra pura, mente pura.
It means a mind that's pure.
Libre de aflicciones,
and it's
¿no?
free of all of its emotional afflictions.
Eso budismo pensando generalmente, ¿no?
And so that's kind of what we like consider.
Paraíso, dicen, ¿no?
It's considered kind of like a heavenly realm or a paradise
Pero
of the mind.
Eso no se puede querer eso en la tierra.
And our own minds, like by purifying our minds, we can actually create that on earth.
Algo físicamente,
and
¿no?
create that physically.
Entonces ese es como un refugio, yo siento, independiente de la budista, no budista, para todos los seres vivos.
And this is a refuge for all beings, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, Buddhist. This is something for all beings to enjoy our innate right to happiness.
Entonces puede aprender filosofía de la vida, ¿no?
And it's a place where we can just learn about the philosophy of
Puede
life.
sanar como heridas externos, internos.
And we can heal our inner and outer wounds.
Entonces eso uno meta principal, yo mi parte, ¿no?
And that's a principal goal that we have. And one of the kind of unique aspects about it is it's a solitary retreat center. So there's going to be solitary cabins kind of posted up in the mountains, and Lama and other teachers that have been working with the mind for, their entire lifetime will be able to share those step-by-step practices of how we can come in to get to know our innate nature through meditation and through silence and through just being in the pristine cloud forest of Costa Rica. And then another aspect of this sanctuary is that it's going to have an intercultural area. So we're going to continue along with the intercultural gatherings that we do with Indigenous tribes and really learn from the myriad wisdoms of the world and continue these intercultural communications and lifting up those voices that very much know how to live in interconnection and well-being. And then the third aspect of that is that we'll also be building a Tibetan Buddhist temple here so that teachers that have taught Lama can actually come here as well and continue to teach. And the Tibetan lineage is one that has been displaced around the world. So creating a place where their beautiful lineage and the wisdom of that lineage can also continue to impact humanity in a good way. And of course, ecological regeneration is at the heart of anything that one would do. So all around there'll be food forests and everything. And we're here right now at Dewachin. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, I can speak on behalf of this wonderful community here in Costa Rica that's so behind you and the work of Lama and everything that you're doing there to really bring about this you know, the teachings, and really to get the land and to build the temple. We feel so blessed and so honored. And for those that are listening, if anyone wants to find out more, I know that you've got a foundation now which is set up as a non-profit in the US. And so what we'll do, we'll include the links to that in the description. And yeah, like, you know, if we can continue to support you in any way, we would love to do that and be a part of the future retreat. So yeah, so thank you so much for taking time to come and to talk and listen and share. And it's just always such an honor. And I know that you have an event happening on Saturday, and we're looking forward to coming along there and getting some more teachings and learning. So we see you back over this side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much, and for the beautiful community that y'all have been creating around the world. And just it's really special for us to be able to connect with new community. I think one of the things that's just so cool is like to have a live teacher, like with an unbroken transmission of a lineage that's been going on for well over 2,500 years in an unbroken way. Like regardless of any external challenges in the world, they've overcome so much. And really the message has always been about peace. And I feel like people that know how to keep a calm mind and compassion in their hearts when their country got taken, like, I want to know, what are you doing? Like, what are you learning? You know, what are you practicing? It's so special. And I think that it's just such a amazing opportunity for all of us, myself included, that we have like such a beautiful opportunity to learn from traditional wisdom keepers, and then for us to be able to just collaborate in different ways to bring those opportunities to more and more people in the world.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, gracias, muchas gracias. And yeah, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you Saturday. We can chat more, but for now, again, just thank you for your time, and just have a really beautiful remainder of the day.
Awesome. Yeah, you both too. Thank you so much.
Tashi dele.
Tashi
Tashi
dele.
There you go.